Dr. Deb Carlin, you were in one of my trainings, and then over time,
Yeah.
we've also built a relationship, and it popped up from time to time to offer some coaching and some help. But I'm curious, in your own words, what was the experience like, and what did you take away?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, your persona really pulled me in. We were at a big national meeting and it was about media. And I'm thinking, what is it that you need to learn to talk to the media? And a little bit tongue in cheek, like what's to learn? And then I learned from you. And so it is all about understanding how to get to the point and do it in a way that pulls people in. And it is also about your self-confidence and allowing it. Because when you're on camera, if you're uncomfortable with yourself, it's going to come out in your words, in the words that you choose, in your cadence, and in everything about your energy. And if you start messing with your hair and adjusting your sleeves,
And
you're
And you're
lost.
somebody who it's interesting that you brought up confidence because you have a PhD, you have a lot of
Yeah.
accomplishments. You wrote this book that you were promoting at the time, your blueprint, and the full title is
Build the strength within.
very nice. So here's somebody, this strong person who's also admitting, oh, wait, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what I was doing. We have to speak to the media. Uh-oh. So that's interesting. Okay, so did it help the training, or you,
Oh my
you joined a
gosh.
group? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, it helped. I mean, one of the things that happens is you start with this self-talk in your head, which is the wrong self-talk most of the time when you find yourself nervous. You're not nervous about anything. You're not anxious about anything unless you're telling yourself the wrong things. You have to go in there with the right script for yourself that, oh, I'm so excited that I'm here. I'm eager to share my knowledge, my experience, my expertise, my passion for what it is that I do and who I am, and just float with it. And don't let your interviewer throw you off because sometimes they can get nervous and really throw you off. Don't get thrown off.
Boy,
You're sitting on a horse, likes you there.
I love that you remember these pieces. The word passion is a big one because people sometimes their energy is all over the place. And I know I say, so I'm thrilled that you actually use the exact word that the sweet spot. I'll ask people, why are you passionate about this topic? And boy,
Yeah.
can they nail it when they tell you. And I'll say, let's bottle this, what you just did. And they say, oh, what? I did a thing. I don't know what's I don't know what I did. And of course, we're recording it. So you could watch it back. What was that experience? And then say, oh, I'll do what that person, which is you on the recording is doing. What was that experience like being recorded so many times, a whole bunch of times over and over?
It was wonderful
Oh, good.
because it was an awareness for me. I walked into it thinking a little bit insecure and also a little bit arrogant. Like, I'm credentialed. I've been doing this. I know what I'm doing. And then just in that same mindset, I'm thinking, am I too chubby? Do I have on the right colors? Is my hair okay? What did you say? Oh, what did you want me to talk about? Oh, wait a second. And being distracted in my own mind. And you taught me how to laser focus, be here now.
Mm.
Just be right, just right now. And by the way, you got about 10 seconds. So cut it out. Just get to the
That's
point.
true, and there's all the different types of interviews. I want you to be ready for short ones, and now there's long form ones like podcasts. And but I love that you realize, like, no, I have 10 seconds. There's no time to get lost in thinking in this direction. I need to be thinking this direction. Helping people, giving great value is one of the
Uh,
sweet spots, and of course,
yeah.
the whole system for staying on message. And then, so where are some places you went on to do interviews?
Oh, broad range. I mean, I already had 3 different radio shows that I had done on AM, FM, and internet. and that got me invited onto podcasts, and then I started podcasting, and then various television stations and radio stations around the country. It helped a lot that I had a literary agent who got me the contract with the publisher in New York who published Build the Strength Within. And then I hired PR people in St. Louis, Chicago, and New York, and they got me set up to be interviewed all over the place. So there's a relatively rich list of platforms that I've been on with media interviewing me, including newspapers, which is, really funny because when when you're being interviewed by a newspaper reporter, you better get it right because they're, writing it down or typing it down or recording it or something, and it's going to be in print. So it's a different experience, right? When you're visually seeing right in front of you what that person said.
Yeah.
So a lot of different platforms for me to see myself and to have grace for myself.
Mm,
That part of my real gift is recognizing that the problems that I help others with are not foreign to me.
mm, fantastic. And tell us more on
Yeah.
that. What does that mean?
Well, I too have siblings. I know about sibling rivalry. I too have been in elite groups, and I know what it's like to be wondering, am I really accepted in here? Do I belong
Ooh,
here? Is this the right group for me? Am I valued here? Am I giving enough in here? Am I really up to date and current with what it is I want to offer
yeah.
people? Do I need to dive deeper to discover how best to happen for people's recovery? That's just an amazing journey. And by the way, it never stops.
Right, right. And as I think back, I'm sure I said in your training, what you were just sharing, that's your sweet spot. And instead of what's not the sweet spot, worrying about your hair, is this the right hairstyle? Did I, should I put color in it? Should I do this thing? How about you help people or you focus on the what's in it for them? But I like to say you can help people,
Yes,
give them what they need, and then they don't care about the other stuff as much as us. And
that's right.
obviously the passion came out when you were saying that. And when you're talking about print, I just said this to somebody the other day who said, and I think I said it earlier this morning to someone on a Zoom call, that a print reporter must take you out of context. The context of the conversation was an hour long. Well, they only have so much information they can get in, and they're getting in some of your quotes, and you can have control
Right.
over doing that. So, thinking, okay, how can I be strategic and even write them down in advance, which was one of the exercises. So you can read it over the phone and do all that. And I'm curious,
Right.
it's amazing you went on, did podcasts, and even did your own podcast, which again means, okay, you must have broken through that, some of those worries and all that stress that people have when I first see them. They're like, "All
Yep.
right, I don't know, like, what am I even like, what am I even doing? Why am I doing this?" And I'm curious, I think you sent me a TV clip. There's always a I'm sharing this for anybody who's watching this at some point, but there's a post-training piece, and people can send me clips or get some feedback or pep talks, and I remember you doing a great job. Was that a morning show? What am I thinking?
Yes. Very early morning show
Sure.
in the freezing cold winter.
Yes, and, so what was that experience like? What were you able to put into action?
Well, I was able to put myself into action.
Okay, that's what we need in
It was
motion.
dark when I got up. It was dark when I got to the studio. I got to the studio and they had asked me to bring in movable pieces like a game or something to use as an analogy, to make an analogy out of that.
Mhm.
And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I've got a million games in my house here. I'm not really exactly sure which to bring." And so what I brought was a war game that escapes me, but it's a
Risk? Is
tabletop
it
game with
Risk?
different word. Was it what?
Risk?
It had, like, a military name to it or
Stratego?
something.
Well, anyway, we get the idea.
Whatever it
It was
was,
a war game.
but I used it because what happens when people are in distress? They are at war.
Okay,
And I made that point. And I
great.
said, you don't have to be in the military to understand this. The fact of the matter is, if you're in trouble, you are in trouble. You're in a war with yourself and whoever is in your midst.
Yeah.
You can't help it. You're trying, but this is the reality of where we land. And so I got so immersed in it for just the few minutes I had available that when I actually looked up at the crew at the end of, when they said, okay, that's it, or cut, or whatever they
Right.
said, they were like leaning in.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a good sign. That's how you know you're onto something.
Right.
And I'm sure it was
Exactly.
within
It
the
was,
amount of time that, they said to you, "We got 5 minutes, we got 8 minutes for
yeah,
the morning show."
totally.
But that's
Yeah.
I always used to say, and I worked at ABC, NBC, Fox, I worked in morning television, prime time, but, any of those shows, if the crew is leaning in, because they've been there every single
Yeah.
day, they're
Yeah.
a group that's not moved easily, they're just kind of doing, their jobs, and maybe they're tired in the morning, but that is an excellent sign, and the audience must have been leaning in. And then of course we want calls to action. By the way, how can people, speaking of calls to action, which is the thing I teach and people should put it in an interview when I end up using this somewhere. And I appreciate you making yourself available and saying, hey, I'll tell some of the stories of what our work was like together. How can people find you, by the way, reach out to you?
Well, I'm happy to say that if you go to Google and you type in Dr. Deb Carlin, spelled just like George spells his last
Yeah.
name, um, you will find a wide,
All different resources and ways to, whether it's LinkedIn and your
yes,
website or all those.
first
Just Google you.
my credentials that I've got, which are a whole variety, decades worth. My website is drdebcarlin.com, and go there and you can find out all kinds of things and get leads into other things.
Yeah.
Build the Strength Within is there. Go on to Amazon and you'll find me. And I want to be easy to find because my goal in this life is to touch as many lives reasonably and sensibly and authentically as I can. So I want my context rich. I want my contact easy. I want my message to really be absorbed by people so that they
Ooh,
can start to feel better in their mind, in their heart, and in their gut.
wonderful. And you do it so well. And it's interesting. I was trying to figure out before we got on. I think the training that you originally were in was maybe 10 years ago that we know each other at least that long now. And
Mm, yeah,
I doubt I said it out loud to everybody, but usually you were part of a group. Sometimes there's
yep,
one, maybe two people where all of a sudden we have a long-term relationship. There's always a post-training piece for a year, and they get a certain amount of coaching and I work with people and they eventually, go on with their lives and then here or there we might weave together. But it's been a pleasure continuing on and you and I talking over the years. I tried been supportive and you've been supportive even to me and bringing up things, whether it's business wise or even just life wise. And I appreciate you for that. People should definitely go over. Yes, Google Dr. Deb Carlin, and you'll either end up at her website or from one of the books. So there's always some great stuff there. And yeah, I appreciate that we've kept it going for so long. I mean, there's so many interesting different types of people you help. I know right now we were talking before about family offices and people
yeah,
of high net worth that you're a strategist coming in. I know you have a psychology background, but that supports the strategy that you give them. And I'm thrilled that I was able to give you some strategy that you were able to use in the media. I had no idea whatever thoughts were going through your mind because you showed up and just said, "Nice to meet you." When I first met you, this is
so
the first time I ever asked you these questions. And I said, "Hey, would you mind just sharing what the experience was like?" And you're super sweet and said, "Sure." And here we
yeah,
so, with that, I am grateful to you, not only just for, sharing with everybody, but for sharing with the world all of the gems inside of you, as they say, don't die with the music inside of you. And you definitely, not only with your books, but with media, have been able to share them with so many people. So thank you, Dr. Deb
Thanks.
Carlin.
You are so welcome, and I thank you right back about a million times over.
A pleasure. Boom. Then it cuts out. That was nice. Thank you
Ah,
so much.
thank you. My nose.
Oh, was it? Nah, nobody will notice. Oh, we'll cut away.
No, no.